I did my final project on creating a curriculum for students in grades K to 2, and it's based on the concept of digital citizenship. This is just a suggested curriculum for the 21st century learner. What I have chosen to do is, in this presentation, is to look at the components that make up the curriculum instead of just looking at the documents themselves. So the first question we have to ask ourselves is, what is digital citizenship? Digital citizenship can be defined as the rules of appropriate and responsible behavior with regard to technology use. And it's our job as teachers to teach our children how to be good digital citizens. So what does it mean to be a good digital citizen? And why is it important to teach this to the current generation of learners? Well, a good digital citizen is a person who uses the internet regularly and effectively and uses electronic tools regularly and effectively. And they know how to follow net etiquette, they practice safety online, and they understand the rights and responsibilities afforded to them in the digital world. It's important that learners of today, which will become the adults of tomorrow, understand what it means to participate in the digital world. This curriculum aims to teach the learner how to navigate safely through the internet, be able to use the internet in an effective manner, be able to use electronic tools in an effective manner. For example, they'll be able to create, communicate, and be critical of what they're viewing online. And as these digital learners are being brought up in an increasingly technology-rich environment, it's important that they understand how to navigate through this very tricky digital territory. There are 9 elements that comprise the foundation of the digital citizenship curriculum that I created, and they're not in any specific order. So we're just going to talk about the first one, which is digital security, or what I'd like to call self-protection. And this is, like in the real world, digital citizens must be able to protect themselves from harm. And so we have to arm our students with the knowledge of identity theft, viruses, password protection, and all of these are in an effort to keep them safe online so that they don't become prey to predators. The next one we'd like to look at is digital law. Like in the real world, again, there are laws that govern the digital internet or the digital world. And what students need to understand is that they need to follow these laws like they do in the real world, and that they are not anonymous online, and that they have a very real presence, and that they should act accordingly. The third one I'd like to talk about is digital rights and responsibilities. These are the basic rights and responsibilities extended to all digital citizens. The right to privacy, free speech, safety, the right not to feel like you're being persecuted against, for example, cyberbullying. And that is something that we talk about extensively in the curriculum, starting as soon as kindergarten. That as a digital citizen, you have a responsibility to others and yourself to behave appropriately. The next one we're going to look at is digital etiquette, and I thought this was a very cute cartoon. So basically, we're growing up in a world where you see these girls who are texting, and we have to understand that, social etiquette can't be changed just because you now have a texting machine where you can't ignore the people around you. And that it's very important to understand that online you have a responsibility to behave. You have a responsibility to treat others fairly. And this is the same as being offline. So what I think is interesting is looking at technology tools and seeing how they change behavior, and really having our students understand that it doesn't make a difference if you have the tools. You really need to understand how to be an effective individual in society and an effective individual online, and that is part of the curriculum. So if we go to the next one, which is digital communication. So digital communication is also considered something akin to the electronic exchange of information, and it's the ability to understand how to communicate and collaborate online. So making appropriate decisions when faced with different types of communications options, understanding how to write an email and what it means when you put a caps lock when you're writing a text. All of these different nuances to be able to communicate online and to get your message across clearly and effectively. The next one is digital literacy, and I thought this was also really funny. Albert Einstein writing, "Can you imagine teaching digital literacy on a chalkboard like this?" So with digital literacy, it's the teaching and learning about technology and the use of tech. So it's probably effective to be using technology to teach that. Digital literacy goes further to talk about critically evaluating information, navigating in the world, creating artifacts using a variety of technology. And it's teaching the nuances of technology and how to use it. Digital commerce is very important. It's the idea that products are being bought and sold online. And children are going to be buying these things, whether it's books from Indigo or it's a toy they want from eBay. It's how to recognize what is legitimate and what isn't, what is legal and what isn't, who you can buy from, what you should be looking for. It's creating an awareness of the world outside and the world of commerce inside the web world, the digital world. So we move on to digital access. And digital access is this concept of children need to understand that not everybody has digital access and that people have them at different levels. And it's the responsibility of the school to recognize this when they are teaching digital literacy and anything digital, when they're teaching about technology, that they have to provide much of the access just in case there are those who don't have it. In this section, I think it's probably more important to talk about how do we get digital access to everyone and what does it mean when people don't have the same kind of access. So I think that is incredibly important. So if we move to the next one, which is the idea of digital physical and mental health. So we need to talk to children about the fact that technology does have a physical element to it, has a mental element to it, and it could potentially have an emotional element to it. And we need to make children aware of these elements in order to create effective digital citizens. So the core goal of the digital citizen curriculum that I created was to improve learning and understanding of the digital world and to prepare the students of today to become knowledgeable and critical 21st century citizens of tomorrow. Basically, it incorporates all of these suggested foundational points and includes them in both kindergarten, grade 1, and grade 2. Now, that isn't to say that I've only done kindergarten, grade 1, and grade 2. But as the children, the learners, move up in the grades, it is my hope that more of these core foundational values will be more in depth. And as they age and mature, it's important to note that you can introduce new elements to it. So you have to go with the maturity level and the ability level of these children to be able to create an effective curriculum document, and that's what I have hopefully achieved. So I'd like to thank you for listening. It was actually a really fun project to do. It's interesting to note that Ontario currently doesn't have a digital citizenship curriculum. I have heard that they are starting to create it, but from what I could find, there wasn't too much in it. I am certain that it's probably embedded within the different curriculums. And this actual document, the one that I created as a PDF as well, I would actually further that to use it it could be used cross-curricularly, or it could be used on its own. I like to use things cross-curricularly. It makes it a lot easier and also makes it more relevant to the students. So this is a list of my references, and I'd like to thank you for listening.